a little more fashion for you guys. I think a few weeks ago we did the Jordan best Jordan model World Cup, which was maybe a little controversial in itself. Maybe not the end result, but some of the little battles we had along the way might have been a little controversial if you ended up checking that one out. And I think at the time you mentioned, I think the Yeezy might be another fun one to do, despite maybe current events. The shoes are the shoes. So
We're sticking to the shoes in this conversation.
shoes are the shoes. So here we go. We have a best Yeezy World Cup. There's only 16 options in this one. There weren't as many, obviously. I think there are more than 16 Yeezy models out there, but we have to narrow it down to 16. And we'll be doing they're randomized like last time as well. So anything can match up against anything. Could be the best against the best. You never know first round. And we'll also be doing majority rules. So we'll have to discuss it amongst ourselves, and whatever the majority is, that moves on to the next round. I think that's all the rules.
Yes, sir.
Let's get it. So first up, we have the 500 versus the Knit R&R. And let me know if I'm pronouncing any of these wrong.
Knit Runner, just Knit Runner.
There you go. I knew I was gonna get something wrong here and there. Knit Runner, man. Use all the goddamn letters in the alphabet. But anyway,
I got you. I'll talk the names.
Yeah, there we go.
500s for me, man. I got two pairs of these, most comfortable pairs. They're timeless. They use a midsole from an old Adidas basketball model. I believe maybe they were Kobe's, maybe they weren't. I can't remember. But they're super comfortable. They're stylish. People say, oh, chunky shoes are dead now. People wearing Sambas. Nah, these to me, I'm wearing anytime. So 500s all day.
Yeah, I'll also go 500s. Knit Runners look comfortable. I just couldn't get behind the yellow on that. I think this is, I don't know if they came out. Yeah, they did come out with more colorways, but I think this is the most popular colorway.
It looks like you stepped in piss. I
don't know. I'm just not a fan of the, man, and this is another, again, we can table this conversation as well. I'm just not a fan of the cozy, like just the cozy shoes, like the cozy shoe age that we live in, like the Crocs, like the Ugg slippers.
Interesting.
Yeah,
we'll table that. That's a good conversation.
I love that. Yeah, let's do it.
Dre?
I'm going with the 500. This one, honestly, like I'm never wearing the Knit Runner, so I guess I have to go 500. But I don't necessarily love the 500 either. Look a little like Blastoise to me, but we can move on to the next one.
Big man Blastoise, man. Let's get it. Ooh.
Load it up. What do we got here?
We got the 350 V1s, the OG Adidas Yeezy 350s versus the 700 V2s, which are my personal favorite 700s and quite possibly favorite Yeezy. But right now, I mean, they're having me decide between nostalgia and my own taste. This is difficult. What are y'all thinking?
This is hard. This is so tough. I will say I own a pair of 700s and they are extremely comfortable. And I love them. And I think they may be a more timeless pair. But the 350 V1s, man, this takes me back to high school. This takes me back to Kanye himself. This takes me back to the Turtle Doves when those were like such a coveted pair. And even if I know we were talking like early in the episode about like the name brand sticking out and just wanting something because of the name behind it. I think 350 V1s was like a very early example of that. Like if you saw somebody wearing those, because this was before reps were what they are now. Obviously reps existed, but they weren't as popular. And I guess you could
started because of this. They started because of this shoe and what he did.
Yes, 100%. But man, those I think that pair speaks for itself. So I'm gonna have to go 350 V1s.
Interesting.
Actually, this is not hard at all. 700 V2 easily.
V1.
No, 700 V2.
Oh, 700 V2.
Yeah, yeah. You're on crack. I've never picked the 350s over the 700. Right. And this is coming from someone who hasn't bought a pair of Yeezys in my life. I never got on a Yeezy train necessarily, but when the 700s came out, I was like, okay, I can see myself wearing those. Like those are the first pair of Yeezys that I was like, especially I guess maybe it's V1, the Wave Runners. I'm not exactly sure, but
Yeah.
the Wave Runners, I was like, actually, I can see myself wearing those versus the 350s. Never in my life that I even have an inkling to be like, you know what, I think I want to go out and buy a pair of Yeezys. To me,
Really?
these look like I could buy something like this on Amazon quite easily. That is going to cost me like $30, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. If you just
My
look at this-
grandpa literally did do that. By the way, they had the Fufu Yeezy soles. Like, it was
if you just
crazy.
look at the shoe on the left here, like to me, like I know it was a different point in time. We're talking 10 years ago at this point, so it was a different point in time, different hype, different style that maybe this suited more. But just looking at these
Post
nothing-
Roshi era. That's important to note.
especially post Roshi. But there's nothing about just looking at these right now that make me think I need this over a Roshi. Like I don't know. For me, this isn't the craziest shoe. I never understood the hype around this. And there are some Yeezy models where I do understand the hype, but this one's not one of them.
Yeah. As
Man.
much as my heart wants to say the 350 V1, I also think I got to go 700 V2 because I quite literally wear my pairs like 5 days out of the week, all the time. And when Adidas was discounting all their leftover pairs, I made sure I bought one more just to hold on to when I needed it because that's how much I love the shoe. Yeah, but this is not me diminishing the value the 350 V1 did for the culture and just what it stands for. And I'm still mad I missed out on the restock that happened, I think, last year. Yeah. Those are classics, though. Those are absolute classics.
Man, that is wild.
Basically
I
trash.
don't know. Oh,
Do we even need to talk about this one?
This isn't even
We
fair,
can
man.
save the discussion for the one on the left for the next round because we're not even debating this.
Wait, but make sure to announce them.
Yeah.
The Nike Air Yeezy 2, Yeezy Pods. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't need to talk anymore. Y'all know where we're going. This is also easy for me. This is the Desert Boot versus the Season 6 slides. I don't know why these are in here because they don't come to my mind when thinking about Yeezys. The Desert Boots are fire. I think they're cool colorways. They're a bit derivative of the 500s in a way, or maybe the 500s were derivative of them. But it's a similar visual. Not actual functional boots, but I think they stand out and do their job well for being a sneaker boot. These came out at a time when it was the Nikes, I believe it was the SFAF1, or where they were doing like the special field Air Force Ones, where they were essentially Air Force One boots with like big ass canvas covers or things that went up the leg, and that was hype at the time. Same time as Fear of God, but these stood out on their own for me. So I'm going Desert Boot.
Right, I forgot about these, man. I just looked up the Nike SFs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I wanted a pair for a long time.
yeah. No, I wanted a pair, yes, of SFs, but I also wanted a pair of those Desert Boot. So I'm going Desert Boot as well.
Yeah.
The only thing that's giving me pause is that they spelled boot BT, but other than that, yeah, I'm going Desert Boot as well. The Season 6 slides just look like slides, bro.
Yeah, there's nothing that crazy. All right. Ooh, another. You know what? This is decent still. 350 V2 versus the 700 V3. I don't think enough people gave the 700 V3 the credit it deserved.
I agree.
I got one pair, and it was honestly more comfortable than 350s for me and my feet. And it doesn't even have boost. And I think with pants, it is probably one of the cleanest Yeezys to rock. That said, the 700 V2 is versatile in its own right, with the colorways, the different fits you can rock with it. I think it has an advantage in how popular it became. And obviously right now we're looking at the zebra colorway, which was iconic for the time. I remember freshman year of college. I randomly one day just went to Foot Locker at Union Square, and they had these sitting, and there was like a line of 5 people. And this was when it was hyped up too. Like it was like just a shock drop of these shoes. And I got myself a pair, and I don't think the only time I was more excited was when I won my Travis Scott ones at Kith for retail. But that was a top sneaker moment for me. So I think for me, I have to go 350 V2.
You lucked out if you had those 2 moments, and it was the same year.
Same year. I used all my luck that year.
That's
That
not true.
is-
You're
yeah.
generally quite lucky. You're generally quite lucky, to be fair. That's one thing I know about you. You and someone else we know both tend to be very lucky. And
Maybe I do got to start gambling then. You know, I take back what I said about those gambling sponsors.
It's funny. Yeah, I definitely hear you on the V3s, man. I think they deserve more love in this colorway in particular. I forget what it's called, but it's the one with like the little blue tint on the sneaker. So I wanted a pair of these as well, but never got around to it. But the 350 V2s, man, I spoke what I said about the turtle doves, and same applies to this silhouette as well. It gives me, again, you think Kanye when you see that sneaker, you think Life of Pablo days, you think like, you know, skinny jeans, off-white, maybe like Hood by Air. Hood by Air was like before this, but you know, just that whole aesthetic. I don't know, but I'm gonna go 350 V2s. I also lucked out and got a pair for retail for the zebra colorway. I will say it was sophomore year of college, so this was 2019. And at that point, they were not as hype, but I was excited to wear these, man. It's not like they were as like, I don't know. I will say like skinny was still kind of in at that time, like skinny jeans.
Oh yeah,
So,
I have not so fond memories of pairs I wore with these shoes. But yeah, man, those colorways were honestly so great. I don't think we gotten a shoe with as many great colors as we have with the 350 V2.
Good point.
That's why I'm also choosing them.
There you go.
I'll give you
Easy.
that simple. Yeah, I went crazy on the V1s. I think those shoes are, you know, Walmart shoes, but these, I actually, although you could say they're not crazy difference, I think the slight upgrades to this model, the silhouette, the shape of them especially, like
The
you're just
shape.
looking at the way that pair, like the right foot is in the front there, you can really see the curvature of that shoe. I think it really hits a lot more than the V1s to me. I think it was a good upgrade. The V3 though of the 700, it's cool, but it looked like some kind of symbiote kind of effect on it.
That's why I love them, bro.
I
It's
don't
so
mind it.
organic looking.
It also kind of looks like it could be just like a, and maybe to be fair, maybe Adidas basketball is bunking the other way around, but it does look like it could just be like an Adidas basketball type shoe. Which
It's
they
the other
have
way
both-
around, which
yeah,
is crazy.
That's what I'm saying. It's probably the other way around.
Like-
But yeah,
All right, 350 V2. Another easy one.
light work.
The 700 V1 versus the 1050, which I don't even think it was officially released, or it was released in like super limited quantities. I think it's a cool, you know, sneaker boot aesthetic as well. But again, the 700s, man, are, I think, the best Yeezys, especially the Wave Runner. Absolutely iconic. It was hated on off the rip, myself included. But once people started wearing them and like the fits they put together, and you saw those colors in real life, it changed. It changed. And their influence continues to this day. So for me, 700 V1 all day.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's not even close. Especially the Wave one. We can talk about that more next round too.
Yeah. Now this is interesting. The original Nike Air Yeezy versus the Adidas Yeezy 750. The first Adidas Yeezy.
This is crazy. This is like a crazy first round matchup.
This is an insane one.
This should be
Obviously-
you could argue this could and maybe should even be the finals in the eyes
You
of
could
me.
argue that. You could definitely argue that.
Heavily disagree, but
I will forever I will forever be upset that Adidas gave up on the 750 model and didn't drop more of them or more colorways or re-releases down the line. To this day, like if they, obviously their partnership is over, but if all of a sudden they just drop this pair again, I would day one be there for that. The Nike Air Yeezy, I respect what it is for the culture and what it represents for Yeezys, but also just with me and my timeline, before I was following sneakers as much as I was, like this was ahead of my time. The 750 was more in line when I was really getting into the thick of it. So,
Sorry.
I really wish I didn't say that.
I had to.
I'm leaning towards the 750. What are you guys thinking?
Well, I'll say off rip, to me, this is not close. Nike Air Yeezy. I'll just say that off rip. I'll let you guys. Maybe it seems like to you guys these are more 50-50, but to me, this is not even close.
Interesting. Why is it not even close? What stands out?
I just
to
like
you?
the structure of the Nike model more.
Mm-hmm.
Like to me, the Adidas 750 looks like it looks like that, like the heel area is bound to collapse. Like I don't know, it just looks very structurally like it does not have the integrity.
Faulty.
Maybe in hand. I never held these shoes in my hand, so maybe in hand is way more sturdy than it looks. But to me, it looks like something. It looks like guys who don't want to wear Uggs, but they're like, I can get some a little more hyped than Uggs. Like,
oh, don't say that.
I'm just gonna keep it a stack. This is from someone who's not invested in these communities, so I got nothing to lose, bro. I'm gonna keep it a stack with y'all. These are literally like the male Uggs, but you really wanted a pair of Uggs, but the guys don't get on you for wearing the Uggs. So let me get the Adidas 750 Yeezy, whatever. It kind of got that feel to it. Cause the Uggs, the heel on the Ugg be collapsing, bro. The girls be stomping down in those Uggs, and then during the winter, and all of a sudden this dragon is a different color. It looks like this is gonna be the same exact thing. But the Nike version has some real structural integrity to it, and especially that black colorway. Oof, I love that colorway.
The solar reds, man, bro. And I will say, respect to respect to the 750s, man, but. The Nike Air. Just to be clear, I don't think we clarified. These are the Nike Air Yeezy 2, so this is the second rendition of them. So just want to make that clear.
True. I messed that up, and it's not in the.
All good.
Yes.
But I just want to say, these are Kanye's best creation, man. Like period. Like I'm picking these over any other sneaker on this list, so I'm gonna go Air Yeezy.
Interesting. Okay, so we'll see if maybe something.
I will say, I think. The Air Yeezy, as much as I do love the 750 and wish it dropped more, I think the colors of the Air Yeezy, it's iconic. You see that combo literally anywhere, you think of that shoe. 100%. I don't think there's any other shoe which has that level of power with color. Yeah. That was a tough one for me, though. This will be interesting. The 950 boot versus the foam runner.
Also not close.
I love my weird looking shoes. I stand by this. I love those organic shapes. Pause on that maybe. But the foam runner's sick, bro. The fits with them, the comfort is crazy. Eric, I'm pretty sure you tried on my pair once, like in my apartment. I want to say,
I did, bro, and because I really wanted a pair.
Yeah.
And
but
I know I just came at like cozy outfits, but I will say foam runners are my exception.
Yeah, I think, they're just kind of perfect for what they are, and the influence is still felt. These came out when, like 2019, 2020, maybe.
They're ahead of its time.
They were ahead of its time, and to this day, we're still getting Crocs riffs off of these, and other brands doing their own. Nike came out with their own slides, which look very Yeezy inspired. So, these got to be it for me versus what looks like a regular LL Bean outlet duck boot. Like, sorry.
Well, I'm not gonna lie though, the foam runners to me, like these are the speeds, and I know that sounds crazy because obviously like there were people who wore it before him, obviously associated with Kanye and all these other people, but to me, speed has completely taken over this shoe. Like I can never, anytime I see anyone wearing a phone runner, I just associate it in my mind with speed. I think he's made it like low key part of his brand as well. Like he even had like
Low-key.
the when he did like a charity match and he had foam runner cleats that he wore in a charity match as well. Like even things like that. To me, these are fully the speed like silhouette. That being said, I'm going with the 950 boots. Now that you say it, they do kind of just look like some LL Bean boots. But if I had to
It's
be
not
honest,
bad, but it's just
yeah, if I had to be honest about which one I would wear, I'm more likely to wear that boot, the black colorway specifically, out. So maybe the brown. I like the brown too, but is that brown or with my sunglasses? That's brown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a brown.
I would more likely to wear those in the winter, and I think the fact that they do look like just some other random boot, and like I wouldn't pay for those, but if I had to wear those, the fact that they look like some other random boot is fine to me. Versus like the foam runner, although I can appreciate what you say about the weird look and like the symbiote type thing. I do like that in concept, but I wouldn't actually end up wearing that out. So I would have to go with the 950. But I know this might be a losing effort.
Yeah, I think. Well, I definitely hear you on the whole speed branding thing. I think I love the foam runners, and I'm gonna pick them. But I will say, this is where Cozy kind of began, and the place where it's at now is I'm not happy with it. But I think, like I said, these are the exceptions. I'm gonna go foam runners.
Foam runner it is. Next up.
Ooh,
Next round. So we're just skipping the Air Yeezy 1, I guess.
Yeah, that's crazy. But we had the season 6 slides. Like,
Yeah,
I think
that
it's
doesn't really make
randomized.
sense.
I think it's randomized. I think there are actually 22 options on like the website, but it has to only choose 16 out of the 22 for the bracket.
Got you. Okay. Well, we are left here with the Nike Air Yeezy 2 versus the 350 V2. Eric, I know your choice based off what you said before.
yeah, tough, but yeah, Nike Air Yeezy 2 all day, every day.
What about you, Alexi?
I mean, it's tough, man. These are literally probably the peaks of two respective eras. Just like culturally, you know, the Adidas and the Nike era. Again, like for me, I think I have to do the 350 V2 just because, like, that's what I wore. That's what I sought. The colors of those. With all due respect to the Air Yeezy 2. Like, no disrespect at all. It's just a matter of what I wore and my preference. So
That's fair. And I think maybe if we were a little older, we might think
if we were
of the Air
older,
Yeezy
it would be the Air Yeezy
a little
100%.
differently. But despite that, I'm going Air Yeezy because to me,
I was like, no way.
yeah, no, I was just trolling. The 350s, to me, they aren't like maybe actually hype wise, they are the peak of the Adidas era. So I understand what you say for that, but actual design wise, I think a shoe that came later was actually better in the Adidas era. So maybe we'll see that matchup later. But I have to go Nike Air Yeezy.
Fair enough. Next up. Wait, no. This is the Air Yeezy, bro. I'm losing my mind.
Wait, yeah, hold on.
Am I thinking of the 3? Is there a 3? Which one am I thinking? Hold on.
No, I think that was a repeat. I think that's just what.
Nah, because there's the Zens, right? That's what they're called. These.
Oh,
These were the ones. Yeah. Okay.
the one got a strap and a bigger strap. Okay.
I'm just.
Yeah, but
You got the 2s on here twice?
Yeah, the V2s are on here twice. There's a repeat.
All right.
That's
I felt like I
randomization.
was losing my mind. Well, for the sake of the repeat, that I feel like I would pick the 700 V2 anyways. But
Okay, we can put the, just for the sake of the repeat, we can
It's a buy
Yeah.
round, but yeah. We'll give it to
let
him.
that one advance. Yeah.
all right, 500 versus the foam runner.
They got lucky. They both got lucky. They should not get past this round either of them, honestly. Damn, that's a shame.
Yeah, this is. I think I have to do the 500. I just wear it more.
I agree. 500s.
Damn.
Alright, Jay.
Honestly, it's crazy how little I care about these two shoes. So I'm going 500, call it a clean sweep, and go up to the next one.
Easy. 700 V1 versus the Desert Boot.
Light work.
Light work.
V1.
We don't even need to talk about it.
Okay.
No, this is still light work for me. 700
Yeah.
V2 versus the 500.
I agree.
700 V2. I praised it before. It's peak.
I call it
V2.
700 V2 is getting some buy rounds, bro. This is kind of crazy.
Yeah. You got the Air Yeezy 2 versus the 700 V1.
To me, this is more like a final than
This is very final-esque.
than the Air Yeezy versus 750. I know we talked about that earlier. To me, that wasn't even remotely close. These two, actually, I think when we talk about peak of like Nike and Adidas, obviously 700 hype maybe didn't hit like the fever pitch that the 350 V2 hype did, but in terms of design, these were the first Yeezys, maybe the first Yeezys ever, where like, cause I wasn't aware of them even before they came. I know you said like you were hating on them before they dropped, just on the model, and then they impressed you. I wasn't even aware of them. Like wasn't even tapped into what Yeezy were doing at that point. But once I actually saw like someone wear these in person, I was like, hold up, like these, like, okay, I might have to dibble and dabble in the Yeezy ecosystem, you know? Like these shoes actually really impressed me from Yeezy. I never was on that train, like I said earlier. So I'll give them that for the Adidas era. This is more of a final.
So you
But I'm
locking
not-
in?
I didn't say which one I chose though. So I'll let you guys choose. I'll let you guys discuss.
I'm picking 700 V1. You know, I can respect the greats, but the Wave Runner is something different. The impact it's had. You know,
Okay.
I've been blessed to have a pair. Knowing what wearing that shoe is like. Every time I wear that shoe, I feel like I could conquer the world, man.
Crazy.
Air Yeezy too, man. I have not been blessed to own a pair, and I don't think I ever will be blessed. And I also think I would be able to conquer the world if those were on my feet, man. Those are insane, bro. I can't. Man, I don't want to go too crazy, but
It sounds like you want to say 700 V1.
no, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. It's not even close for me.
Okay. Dre?
Interesting. Now, here's the dilemma we're in right now. We can make this a little spicy. So, Nike Air Yeezy, if that beats the 700, it goes into the final against the 700 V2. And I already know what Eric's choosing.
Are we already at the final?
No. After this is the final. But we already know the first round of the semifinal, how that went. But I am very curious, if it came down to it, what you guys choose between the V1 and the V2.
I know what I picked.
Wouldn't matter. This is not how tournaments work. What would we have gotten if like the Classico would have been in the semifinal instead of the final? No, bro.
No. This is how tournaments work, because I can pick the V1 right now, and then we can find out. That's exactly how tournaments work.
Pick what your heart says, bro.
All the power is in my hands. But I'm gonna keep it a stack. Nike Air Yeezy.
Thank you.
Wow.
We can have a conversation though after this.
Interesting.
I just want to, round that up a little bit.
Well, I have to go 700 V2 based off that previous round. I mean, yeah, it's the better shoe. I'm gonna say it.
Nike Air Yeezy too. Not close. Still.
This
First round
one
matchup was the closest for me, by the way. The
versus the 750.
The 350 V1s versus these versus the Nike V2s. That was my final. Like that would have been. But Air Yeezy 2.
Interesting. Honestly, I don't know which I like more between the 700 V1 and 2, which is what is making this difficult. Because I just picked the Air Yeezy over the V1, but if I'm being realistic, this comes down to what I'd rather wear versus what I'd rather look at, and that's not always the same thing.
Mhm.
But for the sake of the best Yeezy shoe, if that's what this comes down to, that is the title on this website, uwufufoo.com. Shout out. If it comes down to the best Yeezy shoe, I think I'll probably, because I'm not wearing any of these ever anyway, I'll probably have to go down to what is the best to look at. And to me, the Nike Air Yeezy 2 is just a beautiful work of art. So I'm gonna have to narrowly go with that one. Because if I didn't have to wear it, I'd go V2 of 700 though.
That's crazy to me. Like I respect its icon status, but to me, my one qualm with it is I feel like now we have so many shoes which look like it or take heavy inspiration from it.
To be fair, a lot of
like
Team Jordans
there was a period of Kyrie's which looked very similar.
That's a good point. That's a good
Yeah,
point. But
low key, if you had said that when you were making the argument, I know you just said it's not close. If you had said the Nike Air Yeezy 2 looks like a Team Jordan, I would have backed you. I honestly, for the troll, I would.
Bro, but this could be another discussion, man. But Jordan Brand and the Team Jordans and all those side Jordans, they get a little more flack than they should. I'm gonna pull up real quick.
You know,
I think this came out the past year, the Jordan 4R. We talked about it, I think, with the Nigel Sylvester, maybe.
Yeah.
Like these are not regular Jordans, but these are clean. These are nice.
I never seen that white colorway. That's cool too.
You know, like
I think that colorway saved.
They're actually doing something outside of the main line.
I don't know about that, but yeah.
No, ain't know nothing about that.
I am curious though, what you would have chose, especially Alexi, what you would have chose if it came down to V1 versus V2 700.
V2.
Interesting.
I think
very interesting. Over the Wave Runners.
Over the Wave Runners, because I think for me what stands out is the paneling on that upper. Because I mean you got the same midsole, right? It just comes down to what colors are in there. But the paneling on the upper and the use of the mesh and how the tongue is also different. The one thing with the Wave Runners is their tongue is a little weird. Yeah, it all fits so much better on the V2, and I think it's just a better silhouette. So, and like it just looks so clean in all the colorways. Like for me personally, it's the OG colorway, the Statics, and then the all black is the best all black shoe. Full stop. I will always stand by that.
What about you? If you had to, I know Air Yeezy 2 was so far ahead of these both, but if you had to choose between V1 and V2 of the 700s, what have you have gone with?
V2s also. I think I also am a little biased because I own a pair of Statics, so like I think that's what sways me. But I think overall the Wave Runners, they were cool. They had a little moment. I think that like colorway with like the green and orange is, what's the name of that colorway again?
The green and orange,
the one we were just looking at, like the
Wave Runner.
Oh, is it really just called the Wave Runner?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, exactly. Yes. No, you're right. I was expecting I thought they had like a more like, I don't know, like niche name.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. But the Wave Runners, I think, are iconic, and I think they remind me of like, it's like COVID type times. Like, I mean, they were popping a little bit before then, but like,
interesting.
It is an iconic colorway, I will say. But I don't know. I think besides the Wave Runner, if you look at the other colorways under that silhouette, like I think there were a lot more misses than people will acknowledge. You know what I mean? Like if you just look up, if you just look it up, I think the Wave Runner was like the most successful colorway, but the other ones are just a little questionable.
For the V1, I can agree.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. I was
Yeah.
curious too that the V2 kind of reminds me, and I'm 100% sure you're gonna say that. I mean, even that makes sense to me. The timing of it, that Adidas took these runner models after the Yeezy situation fell apart, but like those like Oswego, Oz, like those type of shoes that
Yeah,
Adidas have.
yeah.
They have the whole like Oz something something line that they would do a bunch of different versions.
Dr. Oz, man.
Yeah, literally, all those to me always look like I guess offshoots of like that 700 line, so 700 V2 specifically type line.
Yeah.
Um,
They
so
did
maybe-
that for a bit, and with the Climacools too. Those the past year or two. I don't know if you've seen those. Those are heavy inspiration from just all the Yeezy stuff. So I get why Kanye was going a bit crazy on Twitter with some of those comments, man, because they were really doing fakes.
There you go. Adidas is uncle,
But I respect it too. They're making a style more accessible for people. I think that's always a good
I think
thing.
as a consumer, like if you're him, obviously that's
Yeah.
hella annoying, worst thing in the world. But if you're just a random, same thing like the conversation about the ratings in the NBA finals. Like if you're just a random person who just wants to wear a pair of sneakers, why do you care if Kanye made the sneakers or if Adidas made the sneakers? It's just a pair of sneakers. If you're an aspiring creator, maybe that's a different situation where you have to worry about. Maybe that's like a red flag for you in the future. But I think if you're just a
Yeah.
random person who wants a pair of shoes, then it's shoes,
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, any last comments on this topic before we wrap up?
That's it for me, man. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I will say the Nike Air Yeezy 2s, I know Alexi made a combination, or like no, not a combination. They look a lot like sneakers that came up after it, but from what I remember, I believe what Kanye was trying to do is like he was trying to combine kind of different Jordan silhouettes when making that silhouette. So I think that's that's fair. That's a fair thing to say. But
Yeah.
man, I think when it comes to a silhouette, the colorways are what are gonna reign supreme, and that's what's gonna be the deciding factor of what, at least in my book, will be considered like a better silhouette. And I think the execution of the colorways were pretty much they're perfect. And maybe if some of the V1 samples, because I've seen some pretty crazy samples, if some of the V1 samples on the Nike Air Yeezy model, if those had been released, maybe we're having a different conversation. But from what we know, from what we have, Nike Air Yeezy 2, it's got to be one of the best sneakers of all time, period. Like, period, point blank.
Actually, funny you say that about. I know we're trying to wrap up, but it's funny you say that about him combining. I never knew that he was trying to combine the silhouettes intentionally, because that kind of roundabout comes back to the whole Team Jordan thing I said at the end of the whole World Cup, because a lot of those Team Jordan silhouettes are really just combining like the retro models, like different parts of the retro models, in really bad ways that people hate on. And some of them, I think, like you said, are a little slept on in their own ways too. But I guess Kanye just picked the right parts of each one to actually make that Frankenstein work out.